Hello everyone, myself Purushotham, working as Assistant Professor in Department of Computer Science and Engineering, MLR team. In this session, I am going to discuss about method overriding concept. Okay, so this is the overview of this session. So first, I will explain. So what is a method overriding? So next, method overriding rules, method hiding, and some sample examples I am going to discuss now. Okay, so let's get started today's session. Now, so what is a method overriding? So method overriding means rewriting a parent class method in child class is called method overriding. Means method overriding is nothing but the rewriting the parent class method inside a child class is nothing but the method overriding. Okay. So here to override the method, the two classes are mandatory and the two classes are must be in the parent and child relation. So overriding concept is possible if and only if the two classes should be in the parent and child relation. Means if inheritance is there in a class, two classes, then only the method overriding concept is applicable. Means to override a method, so compulsory the two classes are mandatory, but in method overriding one class is enough. But in method overriding the two classes are mandatory and the two classes must be in the parent and child relation. Okay, now if the two classes are not in parent and child relation, the method overriding concept is not applicable. So here in method overriding, method resolution will be taken care by the JVM. So the JVM plays a crucial role here. The method resolution means which method has to be executed, who will decide means the JVM will be decided. Okay. So on what basis means based on the object type, not reference, only the based on object type. So the JVM will be decide which method has to be executed. Okay, so this part I will explain the programmatically. So this process also called the dynamic binding, the late binding, or dynamic polymorphism. So method overriding also called sometimes dynamic binding and late binding and the dynamic polymorphism. So these are the other names of a method overriding. Okay, so why it is a dynamic binding, why it is a dynamic polymorphism? So I am going to explain the programmatically. So suppose if you take an example, so as I mentioned, rewriting the parent class method inside a child class is nothing but a method overriding. Okay, see here I have two classes, the class name is a parent and here the class name is a child class. Now these two classes are in the parent and child relation. You can see here I mentioned what the extends keyword means. So this becomes what the child class and becomes what the parent class, means these two classes are in the parent and child relation. Now, as per the method overriding, we need to rewrite the method parent class method inside a child class. Okay, see here in parent class I have M1 method, exactly same method here I am writing. Okay, I am rewriting, and the implementation is different here. You can see here the implementation. You can write your business logic for your understanding. I am writing only simple statement, the parent class M1 implementation. And in child class M1, so I have changed what the implementation. So just I wrote child class M1 implementation. If you observe the parent class and child class, method names are exactly same. Means method overriding means rewriting a parent class method inside a child class. Okay, with the same method signature is nothing but method overriding. Okay. So in method overriding, so which method has to be executed, who will decide means the JVM will be decided. On what basis means the JVM will be decided based on the object type but not reference type. Okay. So suppose if you take an example, see here I create an object to the parent class and here I am calling what M1 method. Okay. Now what will happen means the JVM will be considered only this part, means object it will consider, and the object you created object to the parent class and the parent class M1 method it will check. Means whenever you are creating object means it will point to what this part. And here in second object you can see here you created object to the child class and the child class M1 method will be trigger. This will be trigger. And the third object is a little different here, and here we are performing what the upcasting. Here we are performing upcasting, means here we are assigning child class object to the parent class reference. So this is the child class object and this is child class object we are going to assign to what the parent class reference. Now in this case what will happen means, so while compilation means the compiler will be take care of the method resolution. So during the compilation, so it will be what point to PC means it will be point toward the M1 method. And while running your program, so immediately the JVM is responsible for method resolution, means it will consider this one and this line will be broken. So the dynamically this method behavior will be changed. Okay, this is nothing but the dynamic method dispatch. Okay, so these points now I am going to prove the practically. Here, if you want to override the method, so first of all we need to take the two classes. Again, I am telling you the two classes are must be in the parent and the child relation. So here I am taking the class name itself. I am taking the parent, and parent class is having a method public void M1. So here I am writing the parent M1 implementation, and exactly same I will take one more class now. The class is a child class. Now these two are in the parent, two individual classes. Now I want to establish the parent and the child relation. So take extends keyword and write the parent. Now these two classes are in the parent and the child relation. Now if you observe here, the M1 and M1 exactly same, the implementation is a slightly different. So here the implementation the parent class M1 implementation, and here in M1 means the child class M1 you have what the child M1 implementation. Now I am going to call these methods. So if you are creating object to the parent class and the parent class reference, now you can see here you created object to the parent class. So whatever you are calling, so first it will check in the that parent class only. So if you are calling this one, so it will execute only the parent class M1 implementation. You can see the parent class M1 implementation. And if you create object to the child class and C dot M1, now if you observe, it will print both the parent class M1 implementation as well as the child class implementation. Okay. Now suppose here the P already is there. Now suppose if I call the P equal to new child, and I will call P dot M1. Now here the P already it is a printing the this P already it is a printing the parent class M1 implementation. Now if you call a P dot M1 again, now it will behave out differently, means it will call child class M1 implementation. So if you observe here, whenever you are creating object to the parent class, now it will check in the parent class reference. Here the reference also P means a parent class only. So this method will be bind. Now in this case the same P reference, the same P reference variable, but you are assigned for the child class object. So it always check into the child class only, means whenever you are executing this one, this link will be broken and this will be executed, means this process is nothing but what the dynamic method dispatch. And here to override the method, and we need to follow some rules. Okay, so what are the rules to override a method? Now we'll see. So to overriding a method we need to follow some rules. Now what are the rules we need to follow? Now we'll see. So in method overriding, method name and method signature must be same. Okay, so if you want to override the method, so compulsory method name must be same. In the parent class, suppose if you are taking M1, in child class you need to compulsory take M1 only, then only it becomes what the method overriding. And method signature means number of arguments, the type of arguments and order of arguments must be same. Okay, if you are taking the different argument list, then it's not what a method overriding. Okay, so the rule is very clear, the method name and method signatures must be same. And coming to the return type must be same, and sometimes it may be covariant type. Okay, must be same, and sometimes covariant type means Suppose in parent class, if you are taking parent class return type, and in child class you need to take the parent class return type, or else you can also take what? Child class return type. Okay, so this point I will explain the programmatically now. So suppose if you take an example here, the return type compulsory must be same. So suppose if you are taking void here, suppose if you are taking integer, so this is not a method overriding. So this is not a method overriding. See here, so this is not a method overriding. So compulsory, whatever the return type you are taking, the same return type we need to take here. But sometimes you can take the covariant type. The covariant type means, so suppose if you are taking, like here I am taking like runnable, okay, and so this will be returned what? Runnable object. Okay, here I am creating runnable, and if you want to take inside a child class, compulsory you need to take runnable only. So here I will return new runnable. So here I am taking the runnable as a return type here, and here also I am taking what? The runnable as a return type. Okay, so suppose here instead of taking the runnable inside a child class, you can also optionally you can take a thread class. Okay, so here I will create a thread class and I will create thread class object. So I will return thread class object here, and you can see you will get the same result. So how it is a possible means here, so runnable is an interface. So runnable is an interface, and this is directly implementing what? Thread class. Thread class. So here thread class and runnable are in the parent and child relation. So in parent class M1 method, if it is returning what? The runnable interface, and inside child class either you can take the runnable or you can take a thread class. Okay, now by mistake if you are taking any other object, so it will throw what? The compile time error. Okay, and same the way, so suppose here I am taking like, here I am taking the string, or else here I will take the object class, and I will return I will create object and I will return object, and here also you can take what? Here I am taking the thread class. Now you can see it will execute. So how it is a possible means, as we know that every class directly or indirectly derived from object class only. Okay, so suppose if you take like object, so object is a supermost class in Java. Like every class directly or indirectly derived from object class only. Now the thread class also a child class indirectly derived from the object class. So in parent class for M1 method, if you are taking object inside a child class, here either you can take object or object related child class we need to take. Okay, so that is the covariant rule, and this covariant rule is applicable only for non-primitive type but not a primitive type. Means for primitive data types like integer, float, character, byte, short. So for that the covariant rule is not applicable. The covariant rule is applicable only for non-primitive type. So coming to the next rule, the modifier scope. Okay, so access modifiers like public, private, protected and default. Okay, so if you are taking the modifier scope should not be decreased. Okay, so suppose the scope, assume so this is the scope order in Java, like a public is the most scope and a private is the least scope, and after public the private is having the most scope. So coming to modifier scope, the scope should not be decreased. Means in Java the scope order is as follows, like public is having the more scope and the private is having less scope. Okay, so after public the protected is having more scope, after protected the default is having more scope. Okay, now means in parent class M1 method, suppose if you are taking public, compulsory inside a child class there is no option, compulsory we need to take the public only. So this is the possible cases. Suppose in parent class method is taking public modifier, inside a child class compulsory public only we need to take, and inside parent class suppose if you are taking the protected, so here you will have the two options. Inside a child class either you can take the protected or sometimes you can also take what the public. Okay, now but not what the default or private. Next, so suppose if you are taking the default in the parent class, and you will have the three options, either you can take the default or you can take the protected or you can take what the public. Okay, three options you will have. And what about the private means? So first of all, the private keyword inheritance concept is not applicable. Okay, so there is no chance of overriding the method. Without inheritance we cannot override the what a method. So if you are using the private keyword, private access modifier to any method, first of all we cannot access inside a child class. So when the inheritance is when the method overriding is possible means if you are access a parent class method inside a child class, then only method overriding concept is applicable. But if you are declaring any method with a private, so we cannot access inside a child class. So method overriding concept is not applicable. So suppose I will prove these points now. Here you can see, here in parent class I mentioned M1 method and access modifier is a public, the compulsory inside a child class public only we need to take. And suppose if I take a protected here, the protected here, and inside a child class either you can take the protected or public. So here is, you can see the protected I am taking, protected is no problem, and also you can take the public. So here you will get the same result. But by mistake if you are taking the default means if you are not writing anything, then it becomes a default. Now if you run this one, it will throw compile time error, you can see. So attempting assigning weaker access privileges was protected. So this is not allowed. And so suppose assume in parent class I have mentioned the default access modifier, and inside a child class either you can take the default or you can take a public or you can take the protected, but not a private. You can see this will work, and even if you want you can take the protected, for protected also it will work, and if you want you can take the public, you can see. But if you are taking the private here, so first of all the private means inheritance means method we cannot access what M1 method here, so it will throw compile time error, private access in parent, so it's not possible. So method overriding concept is not applicable for private methods. So coming to the static keyword, so what if I apply the static keyword to any method in method overriding? So if you apply the static keyword to any method, then it becomes a method hiding. Okay, means for static method the overriding concept is not applicable. Okay, means even if you are trying to use a static keyword in method overriding, it becomes a method hiding but not a method overriding. Method overriding and method hiding rules exactly same, almost same, only the method resolution is a different. Means in method overriding the method resolution will be taken care by the JVM, and in method hiding the method resolution will be taken care by the compiler based on the what reference type, based on the reference of the class the method resolution will be taken care. So who is the responsible means the compiler is the responsible. In method overriding the JVM is the responsible, in method hiding the compiler is the responsible. So this is only the difference between like method hiding and method overriding. So suppose if you take an example here, so here I have what exactly same program, but here I replace with a static keyword. In parent class I have static keyword and inside a child class I have static keyword. Now if you are applying a method overriding concept with a static keyword, then it becomes what method hiding. Now what is the difference here means, in method hiding the method resolution will be taken care by the compiler on what basis means only the reference basis, not object basis. Means So the compiler will be consider only this part, the left side part means the reference part. It will consider only the reference but not object. See here, so suppose here you have what the P means it is a parent type, so it will check the parent class only, parent class M1 method will be executed, and here the C is a reference and the C is the reference of the child class, and here it will execute what the child class M1 method, and here you have what the PC is a reference of what the parent class, and it will call what the only parent class M1 method. Okay, it never consider what this object part. Okay, so if you want you can see here, so this is the output of this program. You can see the first it will execute the parent class, and next it will execute the child class, next it will execute the parent class, the same program. Now I am going to prove that. Suppose if you replace a method with a static keyword, like I am creating a static now you can see first it is executing the parent class M1 implementation. Since a P reference we are using the parent type, M1 is what the parent type it will call, and second it is executing child M1 method implementation, since we created what child class reference to the, and we are calling what M1 method of child class, and the last you applied what upcasting here, and here it will consider only the reference but not object, and P is the what the reference of the parent class, again it will check only in the parent class, so parent class M1 will be executed. So coming to the final modifier, so what if I apply the final keyword to any method in method overriding means, so when you apply the final keyword in a method overriding, the method overriding is not possible. So final to a final and non-final, the method overriding is not possible, but non-final method to the what the final method we can override the method. Okay, so actually what is the final keyword means, the final keyword, if you declare any variable or any method with the final keyword, the further changes are not possible. Method overriding means we are changing the implementation, so that implementation, that changing implementation is not possible here. So method overriding concept is not applicable if you are using what the final keyword. So see here, so suppose here I have what normal methods, normal M1 method, normal M1 method here. Now suppose it's a non-final method and it is a non-final method. Now suppose if I apply the final method here, and if you are overriding inside a child class, so this is not possible, and it will throw what error, M1 is a child cannot override in parent M1. So it is not possible, but non-final to final is a possible, means here you can take the final modifier here. So this is a possible. So coming to the summary, in this session we have discussed what is a method overriding. The method overriding means overriding the parent class method inside a child class with the same method signature is nothing but a method overriding. And we have also discussed the method overriding rules, means how to override the what method. We need to follow some rules like order of parameters, number of parameters, and the types of parameters must be same, and the return type must be same or covariant type. So the scope should not be decreased, like all these points we have covered here. And also we have discussed the method hiding, means in method overriding if you are applying a static keyword, it becomes what method hiding but not method overriding. Okay, so that's about today's session. Thank you.